Have you ever felt like heaven became silent right when you needed answers the most? Have you ever laid awake at night carrying burdens so heavy that even your prayers felt tired? Listen carefully, because this moment is not an accident. You did not arrive here by chance. I have drawn you here because there are things your heart has been longing to hear for a very long time. Before the noise of this world touched your mind today, before fear whispered another lie into your thoughts, I already knew this moment would come, and now I am speaking directly to you. There are seasons in life when everything around you appears uncertain. Doors close without warning, people change without explanation, plans collapse in ways you never expected, and slowly, without even realizing it, your heart begins to carry a quiet exhaustion. You continue smiling in front of others while silently wondering within yourself if things will ever become lighter again. But listen to me carefully. The heaviness you carry is not proof that I have abandoned you. It is not evidence that your life has lost direction. Even now, in places you cannot yet see, I am still working. I know how many times you tried to stay strong. I know the tears you wiped away before anyone noticed them. I know the thoughts you never spoke aloud because you feared nobody would understand. Yet nothing about your pain has ever been hidden from me. Not one sleepless night, not one silent cry, not one moment where you almost gave up. I was there through all of it. Even when you believed you were walking alone, my hand remained upon your life. There are things happening beneath the surface that your eyes cannot yet recognize. You are measuring your life by visible results, while I am transforming the unseen parts of your soul. And what I am building within you right now is far greater than temporary comfort. I am strengthening you in places that once collapsed under pressure. I am healing wounds you thought would remain forever. I am teaching you how to stand without fear, even when the road ahead looks uncertain. Do not mistake silence for absence. Some of the deepest work I do happens in hidden places. A seed does not break open in public. Roots do not grow where everyone can admire them. Transformation begins underground, in quietness, in moments where nothing appears to change. Yet those hidden moments determine the strength of everything that follows. And that is exactly what is happening within you now. There were times when disappointment convinced you to lower your expectations. You stopped praying about certain dreams because you became tired of waiting. You buried desires deep inside your heart because hoping again felt too painful. But I have not forgotten anything you placed before me. Not one prayer has been wasted. Not one tear has disappeared into emptiness. The things you thought were dead are still resting within my hands. Understand this clearly. Delay does not mean denial. Waiting does not mean abandonment. There are blessings that cannot enter your life until your heart becomes ready to carry them wisely. If I opened every door the moment you demanded it, many things would destroy you instead of helping you. So, while you thought I was withholding goodness from you, I was actually protecting you and preparing you for something deeper. You have asked me for peace, yet peace cannot grow where fear controls every decision. You have asked me for purpose, yet purpose requires trust beyond comfort. You have asked me for restoration, but restoration begins inside the heart before it appears around you. This is why I continue working patiently within you. I am not only changing your circumstances, I am changing the way you see yourself, the way you carry pain, the way you respond to fear, and the way you walk through life. Listen carefully. You are not behind in life. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified because of your mistakes. The voices that tell you that you are unworthy do not come from me. I have never spoken destruction over your life. Even in your weakest moments, I still called you loved. Even after your failures, I still saw purpose within you. There is nothing about your story that is beyond redemption. And now I need you to stop running from yourself. Stop believing that your worth depends on achievement. Stop exhausting your soul trying to earn acceptance from people who cannot define your identity. Your value was never created by human approval. Before anyone spoke your name, I already knew you. Before this world placed labels upon you, I already called you mine. There is a new season approaching your life, but you cannot enter it while carrying the chains of old fear. You cannot step into freedom while constantly agreeing with hopelessness. That is why I am calling you closer right now. Not closer to religion, closer to me, closer to truth, closer to the peace your soul has been searching for in temporary places. And as you continue listening, something inside you will begin awakening again. Hope will return where discouragement once lived. Strength will rise where weariness tried to settle permanently. Light will begin entering places that once felt consumed by darkness. This is not because your circumstances suddenly became perfect. It is because my presence changes everything it touches. So breathe again. Release the pressure to control everything. You do not need every answer before taking the next step. You only need the willingness to trust me one day at a time. I am already ahead of you. I already know the doors that will open. I already know the healing that is coming. I already know how this story will unfold. And before this message continues, I want you to make a small declaration of faith. If your heart is still holding on, even through the pain, type, "I will trust again," in the comments below. Let that be your reminder that your story is not over yet. Stay with me until the very end of this message, because what you are about to hear may change the way you see your life forever. And if these words are bringing peace into your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who needs encouragement today. And if you feel moved to support this ministry so these messages can continue reaching weary hearts around the world, you can do so through the link given below. There are moments when you sit quietly and wonder why life has become so heavy. You wake up carrying responsibilities that nobody sees. You smile through conversations while inwardly fighting battles you cannot explain. And somewhere deep inside, a question keeps returning to your heart. Will things ever truly change? Listen carefully, because I want you to understand something that fear has tried to hide from you. The struggle you are facing right now is not the end of your story. It is not the final chapter of your life. What feels like breaking is often the beginning of transformation. I know there are days when your strength feels smaller than the problems surrounding you. Days when your mind becomes crowded with worries about tomorrow. Days when disappointment whispers that nothing good is waiting ahead. But even then, I have not stepped away from you. I do not abandon you in weakness. I draw nearer in those moments. When your heart becomes exhausted from carrying too much alone, that is where I begin teaching you how to rest in me. You have spent so much time trying to hold everything together, trying to manage every outcome, trying to fix every situation before it falls apart. Yet the more tightly you hold everything, the more anxious your soul becomes. This is why I am asking you to release what was never meant to rest entirely upon your shoulders. There are burdens you were never created to carry alone. There are fears that have remained in your mind far too long. And there are wounds you continue reopening because you keep replaying old pain instead of allowing me to heal it. Understand this deeply. Healing is not pretending nothing hurt you. Healing is allowing me to enter the places you tried to hide from everyone else. I see the memories you avoid revisiting. I see the disappointments you still carry in silence. I see how rejection changed the way you look at yourself. But those painful moments do not define your identity. They are experiences you walked through, not names you must carry forever. You keep thinking your life must look perfect before peace can enter your heart. But peace does not come from perfect circumstances. Peace comes from trusting that I remain with you even when circumstances are imperfect. The storms around you are temporary, but my presence is constant. And the moment you begin believing that truth deeply within yourself, fear will slowly lose its power over your life. There are people listening right now who have almost given up on themselves. You have become so discouraged by delays that you no longer expect good things to happen. You continue moving forward physically while emotionally feeling stuck in the same place. But listen to me carefully. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it never will. Timing matters more than you realize. There are blessings still being prepared. There are answers still unfolding. There are connections, opportunities, and breakthroughs moving toward your life even now. You cannot judge the future by the pain of the present moment. Some of the greatest transformations begin in seasons that appear empty. Think about how the night feels before sunrise. Darkness convinces you nothing is changing, yet the dawn is already approaching quietly beyond the horizon. In the same way, there are things shifting around your life right now that you cannot yet see. I need you to stop speaking hopelessness over yourself. Stop agreeing with every fearful thought that enters your mind. The voice that constantly tells you that you are too broken, too late, or too weak is not speaking truth over you. I have placed strength within you that you have not fully discovered yet. You are stronger than the pain that tried to defeat you. You are more valuable than the rejection that wounded you. And your future is greater than the failures behind you. There is also something else I need you to understand. Not everyone who walked away from your life was meant to continue the journey with you. Some people were only part of a season. Some relationships ended because I was protecting your peace, yet you kept grieving doors I already closed for your good. If you continue staring at what left, you will miss what is trying to arrive. Lift your eyes again. Hope again. Dream again. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because I am still guiding your path. The world teaches you to panic when things become uncertain, but I am teaching you how to remain steady, even when you cannot see every answer clearly. Faith grows strongest in moments where trust becomes your only option. There are prayers you prayed years ago that are still alive before me. There are tears you cried that I still remember. Nothing surrendered into my hands is forgotten. Even now, I am arranging moments that will restore your confidence again. One conversation can shift your direction. One opportunity can change your future. One season can heal years of discouragement. Never underestimate what I can do within a single moment. And while you are waiting, do not waste this season by believing nothing valuable is happening. I am building patience within you. I am teaching you wisdom through experiences. I am showing you how to depend on me instead of depending entirely on human approval or temporary security. What you are becoming matters just as much as what you are praying for. There are hidden strengths developing inside you right now. Compassion is growing where bitterness once tried to live. Wisdom is forming where confusion once ruled. Humility is replacing pride, and resilience is being born through every difficult moment you refuse to surrender completely. One day you will look back and realize that the season you once called painful was also the season that changed you most deeply. Do not allow comparison to steal your peace anymore. Someone else's success does not cancel your purpose. Someone else's timing does not diminish your value. Your journey is unique because your calling is unique. I did not create you to imitate another life. I created you with intention, with purpose, and with a future that still holds meaning no matter how delayed it feels today. And now I want you to take a deep breath and release the pressure to have everything figured out immediately. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to heal gradually. You are allowed to move forward one step at a time. Stop condemning yourself for not being further ahead. Growth often happens quietly, almost invisibly, until one day you realize you are no longer the same person you once were. So listen closely as this message continues. Keep your heart open. The words you are hearing are not arriving by accident. They are reaching you because your soul has been crying out for reassurance, for direction, and for peace, deeper than temporary comfort. And if you are still believing for restoration in your life, type, "My season is changing," in the comments below. Let those words become a declaration over your future. Stay until the end, because there is still something your heart needs to hear today. And while you continue listening, Send this message to someone who has been carrying silent battles lately. Sometimes one word of encouragement can keep a weary soul from giving up completely. There are nights when your mind refuses to rest. You lie awake replaying conversations, mistakes, disappointments, and fears about the future. The world around you grows quiet, yet the noise within your thoughts becomes louder than ever. And in those moments, you begin wondering if anyone truly understands the weight you carry inside. But listen carefully to me now. I understand every hidden burden you have been carrying. I hear the prayers you could not even put into words. I see the exhaustion behind your smile, and I have not turned away from you for a single moment. You have spent so much time trying to appear strong that you forgot how to simply be honest about your pain. You convinced yourself that you had to carry everything silently. You believed that asking for help meant weakness. But I never created you to live with constant heaviness in your soul. The peace you long for is not found in pretending you are unbreakable. Peace begins when you stop hiding your weariness and allow me to enter the places you kept guarded for so long. There are wounds inside you that did not come from strangers. Some came from people you trusted deeply. Some came from words that were spoken carelessly over your life. Some came from moments where you gave your best and still felt rejected. And because of those experiences, you slowly built walls around your heart. You became careful, distant, quiet. You stopped expecting too much because disappointment hurt too much before. But listen to me closely. Protecting your heart should not mean imprisoning it. I did not create you to live trapped behind fear forever. There is still joy waiting for you beyond the walls you built out of pain. There are still meaningful connections ahead of you. There are still moments of laughter, peace, healing, and purpose that your future contains. Do not let temporary heartbreak convince you that love, hope, or goodness no longer belong in your story. The enemy of your peace has tried to make you believe that your past permanently damaged your future. But I am telling you now that restoration is still possible. Healing is still possible. Renewal is still possible. Even the places inside you that feel empty can become alive again when you allow my presence to reach them. Some of you listening have become tired of waiting for change. You prayed for answers, but time passed without visible results. You asked for open doors, but instead faced delays. And slowly, frustration settled into your heart. Yet, what you cannot see is that many delays were protecting you from things not aligned with your purpose. There were situations that looked good temporarily, but would have wounded you deeply later. There were paths you wanted desperately that would have pulled you away from a life I intended for you. Not every closed door is punishment. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is redirection. And sometimes it is preparation for something far greater than what you originally imagined. I know you want immediate answers. I know you want certainty about tomorrow. But faith grows strongest when you continue walking even without complete understanding. Anyone can believe when everything makes sense, but trust becomes powerful when you choose hope, even while standing in uncertainty. There are moments ahead of you that will make sense of seasons you once questioned. One day you will look back and realize why certain relationships ended, why certain plans collapsed, why certain opportunities disappeared. At the time, it felt painful, confusing, even unfair. But later, you will recognize how I was guiding your steps away from things that could not carry the future I prepared for you. Do not become bitter over seasons that were only temporary. Some chapters were necessary for your growth, even though they brought discomfort. Pain has taught you compassion. Waiting has taught you patience. Failure has taught you humility. And brokenness has taught you how deeply you need my presence. None of it has been wasted. You keep thinking your life should already look different by now. But growth is not always visible immediately. Think about the ocean. Deep waters move differently than shallow ones. Shallow waters are loud and restless. Deep waters carry quiet strength. And I am developing depth within you. Depth in your faith. Depth in your character. depth in your understanding of life. This is why your journey has required patience. My child, stop measuring your worth by how quickly things happen for other people. Your timing is not their timing. Your calling is not their calling. Comparison has stolen enough of your peace already. The more you focus on what others have, the more you overlook what I am building within your own life. There is purpose in your story, even in the chapters you wish you could erase. Some of the most powerful testimonies are born from seasons of struggle. The very pain you once begged to escape may one day become the source of encouragement that helps someone else survive their darkest moment. Never underestimate how your healing can become hope for another person. And hear me clearly, you are not too far gone for restoration. There is no amount of failure that places you beyond my mercy. There is no mistake that permanently cancels your value. I do not define you by your lowest moments. I see the person you are becoming, not only the person you used to be. So stop speaking against yourself. Stop repeating words over your life that destroy your confidence and weaken your spirit. The world already carries enough negativity. Do not become another voice attacking your own soul. Speak life over yourself again. Speak hope again. Speak possibility again. The way you speak to yourself shapes the atmosphere within your heart. There are blessings approaching your life that require a healthier mindset to sustain them. If you continue believing you are unworthy of good things, you will sabotage the very answers you prayed for. That is why I am teaching you to see yourself differently now. Not through shame, not through fear, but through truth. You are loved more deeply than you realize. You are seen even in your hidden struggles. You are valuable even on days when you feel weak. And your future still carries purpose even after everything you have been through. Do not give up now. You are closer to breakthrough than you think. The season you are walking through will not last forever. Morning always follows the longest night. And there is strength rising within you even now while you listen to these words. If you are choosing to believe that healing is still possible for your life, type, "I am not giving up," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today, and stay with me until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to hear. Someone else is carrying silent pain tonight too, so share this message with a person who may need encouragement right now. Sometimes one message can remind a hurting soul that they are not alone. There are moments in life when you feel surrounded by people and yet completely alone inside. You continue fulfilling responsibilities. You continue answering messages. You continue showing up for others. But deep within your heart, there remains a quiet emptiness that nobody seems to notice. And slowly you begin wondering whether anyone truly sees the real battle taking place within you. But listen to me carefully now. I see everything you have been carrying silently. I see the pressure you never talk about. I see the exhaustion hidden behind your daily routine. And I am speaking to you now because your soul has grown tired of carrying burdens without rest. You were never meant to survive only on outward strength. The world taught you to hide weakness, to suppress emotion, to pretend everything is fine even when your heart feels overwhelmed. But there is a difference between surviving and truly living. You have spent too long functioning while emotionally drained, too long smiling while inwardly breaking, too long convincing yourself that rest can wait until someday later. But your heart cannot continue carrying endless pressure without renewal. Even strong people become weary. Even faithful people sometimes feel discouraged. Even hopeful people can experience moments where fear and uncertainty cloud their vision. And when those moments come, it does not mean you are failing. It means you are human. I never asked you to become someone without emotion. I never asked you to walk through life pretending pain does not affect you. What I desire is honesty. Honesty about your fears. Honesty about your disappointments. Honesty about the places where you no longer know what to do next. Because healing begins where honesty enters. There are some of you listening right now who feel emotionally exhausted from carrying responsibilities that never seem to end. You wake up already tired. You overthink constantly. Your mind rarely becomes quiet because you are always worrying about something ahead. And even when good moments arrive, part of you struggles to enjoy them fully because anxiety keeps preparing for the next problem. But I do not want fear to become the atmosphere of your life. Fear was never meant to guide your decisions, control your thoughts, or steal your peace. Fear shrinks your vision. Fear convinces you that worst-case scenarios are inevitable. Fear keeps you trapped in cycles of doubt and hesitation. Yet I am calling you into a different way of living, a life led by trust instead of constant panic. You do not need to carry tomorrow before it arrives. So much of your exhaustion comes from mentally living in problems that have not even happened yet. Your thoughts race ahead into uncertainty, and your heart becomes overwhelmed, trying to control outcomes you cannot predict. But listen carefully. You are not responsible for controlling the entire future. You are only responsible for trusting me one step at a time. There are blessings you miss in the present because anxiety keeps pulling your attention into imagined fears about tomorrow. Meanwhile, precious moments pass unnoticed. Peace slips away. Joy becomes difficult to feel. Gratitude disappears beneath pressure. And eventually your soul begins living in survival mode instead of truly experiencing life. But I want more for you than survival. I want you to experience peace even in uncertain seasons. I want you to rediscover joy that does not depend entirely on circumstances. I want your heart to breathe again instead of constantly bracing for disaster. My child, some of the battles within you were created because you kept carrying things that were never assigned to your spirit. You carry guilt from mistakes already forgiven. You carry shame from seasons already finished. You carry responsibility for outcomes that were never fully in your control. And all of that unnecessary weight has made your journey far heavier than it needed to be. Release what you cannot control. Release the pressure to have every answer immediately. Release the belief that your worth depends on constant productivity or perfection. You are valuable even while healing. You are worthy even while growing. And you are still deeply loved on the days when your strength feels small. I know there are moments when you compare your life to others and wonder why your journey feels harder. You look around and see people appearing successful, confident, and fulfilled, while you quietly battle discouragement within yourself. But comparison only blinds you to the unique work I am doing in your own life. The strongest roots often grow in hidden places, and many people who appear strong outwardly are carrying battles you cannot see. Stop measuring your life through appearances alone. Real transformation happens deeply, quietly, patiently. Some of the most beautiful things I create require time beyond human understanding. And right now, even in this difficult season, I am still creating something meaningful within you. You think you are falling apart, but often what feels like breaking is actually the beginning of rebuilding. Old mindsets are collapsing. False identities are fading. Dependence on temporary things is weakening. And slowly, quietly, your heart is learning to lean on what truly lasts. Do not become discouraged because the process feels slow. Deep healing is rarely instant. Sometimes restoration unfolds little by little, layer by layer, prayer by prayer. Yet every step matters. Every moment you continue choosing hope matters. Every day you continue getting back up matters more than you realize. There is also something important you need to understand. Rest is not laziness. Pausing is not failure. You cannot pour life into others while your own soul remains completely depleted. You need moments of stillness, moments where you breathe deeply again, moments where you stop striving long enough to remember that your life is more than endless pressure and performance. You do not need to prove your value by exhausting yourself constantly. Your worth was never created by achievement alone. Long before you accomplished anything, I already loved you completely, and nothing about your current struggle changes that truth. The future ahead of you still carries beauty. There are peaceful moments you have not experienced yet. There are doors still waiting to open. There are prayers still moving toward fulfillment. Do not allow temporary exhaustion to convince you that your story will always feel this heavy. Light is still coming. Healing is still happening. Strength is still rising inside you even now. So today I want you to pause for a moment and breathe deeply again. Stop rushing. Stop condemning yourself for being tired. Stop expecting yourself to carry impossible weight alone. You are allowed to rest in my presence while your heart heals. And if you are ready to release fear and trust again, type "Peace is entering my heart" in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more I want to speak into your spirit. And if these words are helping you breathe a little easier tonight, send this message to someone whose heart may also be carrying silent exhaustion. Sometimes encouragement arrives exactly when a soul is closest to giving up. There are seasons when life changes so suddenly that your heart struggles to keep up. One moment you believed everything was moving in the right direction, and the next moment, confusion entered like a storm. Plans shifted. Relationships changed. Doors closed without warning. And deep inside, you began asking questions you were afraid to speak aloud. Why did this happen? Why did things fall apart? Why does the path ahead feel so uncertain now? Listen carefully, because I want you to understand something that your pain has made difficult to see. Not every ending is destruction. Some endings are preparation for a beginning your current vision cannot yet understand. You keep trying to return to versions of life that no longer fit the person you are becoming. You revisit old memories, hoping they will still bring peace. You hold on to relationships that already lost their ability to nurture your spirit. You stand before closed doors asking why they would not open, while I am already preparing a completely different path ahead of you. But if you remain attached to what has ended, you will struggle to embrace what is trying to begin. There are moments when letting go feels harder than continuing to suffer. At least familiar pain feels predictable. At least old disappointments feel known. But growth often requires leaving behind what once felt comfortable. And that process can feel frightening because it forces you to trust beyond what you can currently see. My child, there are things I removed from your life, not because I wanted to punish you, but because they could not continue into the future I prepared for you. Some people were draining your peace while pretending to care about your soul. Some habits were slowly weakening your confidence and clouding your purpose. Some environments were keeping your spirit trapped in fear, insecurity, and exhaustion. Yet because you became emotionally attached to those things, you mistook their removal as loss instead of protection. Understand this clearly. I do not close doors without purpose. And when I lead you away from something, it is because I can already see what lies ahead beyond your current understanding. You are entering a season where discernment matters deeply. Not every opportunity belongs to your future. Not every voice deserves influence over your heart. Not every path that appears attractive will actually lead to peace. This is why you must learn to listen beyond appearances. Some blessings arrive quietly. Some dangers arrive beautifully disguised, and wisdom grows when you stop chasing everything that temporarily looks appealing. There is a reason your spirit has felt restless lately. Deep inside, you know you cannot continue living exactly as before. You know certain patterns must change. You know your soul is craving something deeper than temporary distractions, yet part of you still fears the unknown. Part of you keeps hesitating because transformation requires courage. But listen carefully. You do not need to have every answer before moving forward. You only need enough trust to take the next step. Faith is not complete certainty about the future. Faith is choosing to walk even while some questions remain unanswered. I know how disappointed you became when certain prayers did not unfold the way you expected. You believed specific people would remain forever. You believed certain dreams would happen quickly. You imagined your life would look different by now. And when reality unfolded differently, discouragement settled into your heart. But I want you to understand something important. Your disappointment does not mean your life has lost purpose. Sometimes the greatest redirections come disguised as painful interruptions. You cannot fully receive new blessings while constantly staring backward. If your focus remains trapped in what failed, you will overlook what is beginning to grow around you now. Lift your eyes again. The story is not over. There are still meaningful chapters ahead. There are hidden strengths developing inside you through this season of uncertainty. You are becoming more resilient than before, more discerning, more compassionate, more grounded in truth instead of appearances. The pain you walked through did not destroy you completely, because I was sustaining you even in moments when you felt weak. And let me tell you something else. Your heart needs to hear tonight. You are not falling behind because your journey looks different from someone else's. Stop allowing comparison to steal your peace. Stop measuring your progress through another person's timeline. Your purpose was never meant to imitate another life. The path I prepared for you carries unique lessons, unique timing, and unique assignments. Some people bloom early, others bloom deeply. Do not confuse delay with absence of purpose. Trees with the deepest roots often take the longest to grow because strength is being established beneath the surface first. And that is exactly what has been happening within you. There are prayers you thought I ignored that I was actually protecting carefully for the right season. There are dreams you assumed were dead that are only resting temporarily beneath the soil of preparation. Timing changes everything. A blessing received too early can become a burden instead of a gift. But when the proper season arrives, what once seemed impossible suddenly unfolds with clarity. So stop condemning yourself for not having everything figured out yet. Stop attacking yourself for being in process. You are still learning, still healing, still growing, and growth requires patience. Do not let fear make your decisions anymore. Fear will always tell you to remain small, hidden, and emotionally guarded. But I did not create you to live imprisoned by constant anxiety. There is more life ahead of you than fear wants you to believe. The future still contains meaningful relationships. The future still contains purpose. The future still contains moments of joy you cannot currently imagine. Keep moving forward, even if the steps feel slow. One day you will realize that this difficult season was not sent to destroy you, but to prepare you for a deeper life than you had before. And remember this carefully. You are never walking through uncertainty alone. Even when answers feel delayed, my presence remains beside you. Even when your emotions fluctuate, my faithfulness does not change. Even when your heart feels weary, I am still guiding your path one step at a time. So breathe again tonight. Release the pressure to understand everything immediately. Some answers only become clear after you continue walking forward in trust. If you believe a new season is beginning in your life, type, "I am ready for what is next," in the comments below. Let those words become a declaration over your future. And stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive today. If these messages have been strengthening your heart and bringing peace into your life, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may be quietly struggling tonight. And if you feel led to support this ministry so these messages can continue reaching hearts around the world, you can do so through the link given below. There are moments when you look at your life and quietly wonder whether you have become too tired to keep believing. You still pray, but not with the same confidence as before. You still hope, but cautiously now, because disappointment has taught you how painful unmet expectations can feel. And somewhere deep within your heart, a quiet fear has begun whispering that perhaps nothing will truly change. But listen carefully to me now. The exhaustion you feel is not the end of your journey. It is the place where I begin teaching you that your strength was never meant to come only from yourself. You have carried burdens for so long that heaviness has started feeling normal. You wake up already mentally preparing for stress. You anticipate problems before peace. You expect disappointment before blessing, and without realizing it, your heart has slowly learned to survive instead of truly live. But I did not create you merely to survive each day with constant anxiety pressing against your spirit. I created you for peace deeper than circumstances and joy stronger than temporary hardship. My child, I know the silent battles nobody else sees. I know how often you overthink conversations afterward. I know the fear that rises when life feels uncertain. I know the pressure you place upon yourself to keep everything together, even while your heart feels exhausted. But hear me clearly tonight. You do not have to carry all of this alone anymore. You keep trying to solve everything through your own understanding. You search endlessly for certainty before taking steps forward. Yet life was never designed to give you complete control over every outcome. Some things require trust beyond what your eyes can currently see. And while that feels uncomfortable, it is also where deeper faith begins growing. There are answers you want immediately that cannot yet be fully revealed because your heart is still being prepared. If every prayer were answered instantly, patience would never grow within you. Wisdom would remain shallow. Dependence on me would never deepen. But through waiting, through uncertainty, through moments where you continue believing without visible proof, something powerful is being formed inside your soul. Do not despise the process simply because it feels uncomfortable. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Trees become stronger through storms, and hearts become wiser through seasons that require perseverance. What feels difficult now is building endurance that will sustain you later. I know you sometimes compare your hidden struggles with the visible victories of others. You scroll through their lives and wonder why your own journey feels heavier. But appearances rarely tell the full story. Many people who seem strong outwardly are carrying unseen battles themselves. And comparison blinds you to the unique work I am doing within your own life. Stop measuring your worth through temporary accomplishments. Stop believing your value rises and falls according to success or failure. Your identity was never supposed to depend entirely upon external achievements. Long before you proved anything to anyone, you already mattered deeply to me. There are people listening right now who have quietly become harsh toward themselves. You criticize every mistake. You replay failures repeatedly. You speak against yourself in ways you would never speak to someone you love. But constant self-condemnation will slowly drain the life from your spirit. Grace must include the way you treat yourself while growing. You are still learning, still healing, still becoming, and growth always involves imperfect moments. Do not let one difficult season convince you that your entire future is ruined. One chapter does not define the whole story. There is still beauty ahead of you. There are still prayers waiting to unfold at the proper time. There are still meaningful relationships your future has not yet introduced to you. There are still peaceful mornings and joyful moments that will arrive unexpectedly after this season of heaviness passes. But first, you must stop believing that hopelessness is wisdom. Some people call it being realistic, when in truth, they have simply become afraid to hope again. Guard your heart against that mindset. Cynicism may protect you temporarily from disappointment, but it also blocks joy, expectation, and faith from flourishing fully within you. I am calling you back into hope, not shallow optimism, real hope, the kind that remains steady even during uncertainty, the kind that says, I do not understand everything right now, but I still believe goodness is possible. That kind of faith changes the atmosphere within your soul. There are also things I need you to release. Release the need to control every outcome. Release relationships that constantly drain your peace. Release the guilt from mistakes you already learned from. Release the fear that tells you your best days are behind you. Those thoughts are not speaking truth over your life. The future ahead of you is not empty. There are doors you have not seen yet. There are opportunities quietly moving toward your path. There are moments of restoration already being prepared beyond your current understanding. And while you wait, do not waste this season by constantly attacking yourself for not being further ahead. Growth is happening even now in ways you cannot fully measure. Every day you continue choosing hope instead of surrendering to despair matters deeply. Every time you rise again after discouragement, strength increases within you, little by little. You may not realize how much you have already survived. There were seasons you thought would completely break you, yet you are still here, still breathing, still searching for light, still listening for my voice. That itself is evidence that you are stronger than the darkness that tried to overcome you. So tonight, stop carrying tomorrow before it arrives. Stop punishing yourself for not having every answer. Stop believing that delay means abandonment. Sometimes the most meaningful transformations happen slowly, quietly, beneath the surface where roots are growing deeper than before. And listen closely to this truth. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not too broken for renewal. I am still writing purpose into your story even now. If you are choosing hope over fear today, type, "I still believe," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration tonight. Stay with me until the end, because there is still something your heart needs to hear. And if these words are helping you breathe easier, share this message with someone who may secretly be fighting discouragement right now. Sometimes, one reminder of hope can change the direction of an entire day. There are moments when you feel as though your life has become a long season of waiting. Waiting for answers. Waiting for healing. Waiting for clarity. Waiting for a breakthrough that seems delayed again and again. And while you wait, discouragement slowly tries to settle over your heart like a heavy cloud. You begin wondering whether your prayers are still being heard or whether silence means nothing is changing. But listen carefully to me now. Silence does not mean absence. Delay does not mean rejection. And waiting does not mean your life has lost purpose. Some of the deepest work I do within you happens in seasons where visible progress feels slow. You keep searching for immediate signs while I am building unseen strength beneath the surface. Think about roots growing underground. Nobody applauds them. Nobody sees their progress day by day. Yet those hidden roots determine whether the tree will survive future storms. And right now, even through uncertainty, I am strengthening the roots of your spirit. My child, I know how difficult patience can feel when your heart is tired. I know there are nights when you ask why certain doors remain closed. I know there are moments when you question whether you are somehow falling behind in life. But your story is not behind schedule, simply because it unfolds differently than expected. Human timing often measures success through speed, but I measure growth through depth. There are blessings you prayed for that require a stronger version of you before they fully arrive. Not because you are unworthy now, but because some gifts require wisdom, maturity, and inner healing in order to be carried well. If everything arrived immediately, many lessons your soul needs would remain undeveloped. And while you call this season waiting, I call it preparation. Preparation is uncomfortable because it stretches you beyond familiar limits. It teaches you how to trust when certainty feels distant. It teaches you how to continue walking even while answers remain incomplete. And most importantly, it teaches you that your peace cannot depend entirely upon circumstances changing quickly. There are some people listening right now who have secretly become discouraged by how long certain battles have lasted. You expected healing faster. You expected relationships to improve sooner. You expected opportunities to arrive already. Yet month after month, you continued carrying unanswered questions. And slowly, your hope became quieter. But hear me clearly tonight. Your hope is not wasted simply because the timeline feels longer than expected. Seeds planted deeply take time before visible growth appears. Yet once growth begins, the roots already established beneath the surface allow lasting strength to emerge. Do not abandon your faith because results feel delayed. Some of the greatest transformations happen gradually. Healing unfolds layer by layer. Wisdom develops through experience. Character forms through perseverance. And endurance is built through continuing forward, even while uncertainty remains. You are stronger now than you realize. There were seasons you thought would completely break your spirit, yet you survived them. There were nights you cried yourself to sleep, yet you still woke up and continued moving forward. There were moments you wanted to quit entirely, yet something inside you refused to surrender. That strength did not come from nowhere. I was sustaining you even when you could not feel it fully. Stop speaking as though your future contains nothing good simply because the present moment feels difficult. Words shape the atmosphere of your heart. If you constantly declare hopelessness over your life, discouragement will deepen its roots inside your spirit. But when you choose faith, even trembling faith, light begins entering places fear once controlled. You do not need to pretend everything is perfect. Honesty matters. But there is a difference between acknowledging pain and surrendering completely to despair. One keeps your heart open to healing. The other slowly convinces you that healing is impossible. There are things still ahead of you that will restore your confidence again. Conversations that will bring unexpected encouragement. Doors that will open suddenly after long periods of silence. Relationships that will remind you genuine connection still exists. Opportunities that will reveal why previous delays were necessary. Do not lose heart now. The chapter you are currently living is not the final conclusion of your story. I also need you to stop condemning yourself for moments of weakness. You are not failing simply because you became tired. Even strong hearts need renewal. Even faithful souls experience discouragement sometimes. Rest does not make you weak. Needing reassurance does not make you broken. You are human, and growth includes seasons where you must learn how to receive peace instead of constantly striving. There is also something important you need to recognize. Not every battle requires your constant emotional energy. Some things must simply be placed into my hands so your soul can breathe again. You keep replaying situations you cannot control, hoping anxiety will somehow produce solutions. But worry was never meant to become the center of your daily life. Release what you cannot carry forever. Release the fear of outcomes you cannot predict. Release the belief that you must figure out everything immediately before peace becomes possible. You are allowed to trust step by step. The future is not as empty as fear has tried to convince you. There is still purpose ahead. There is still joy waiting beyond this season. There is still restoration possible in areas where hope became weak. Your life is not finished simply because one season became difficult. And remember this carefully tonight. I have not forgotten you. I have not overlooked your prayers. I have not ignored your tears. Every moment of perseverance matters more than you currently understand. So breathe deeply again. Let your heart rest for a moment instead of carrying endless pressure. You do not need to force every answer into existence. Some things unfold naturally when the proper season arrives. If you are choosing to trust, even while waiting, type, "My time is coming," in the comments below. Let those words become a declaration of faith over your life today, and stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive tonight. If this message is strengthening your heart, share it with someone who may be quietly struggling through a difficult waiting season right now. Sometimes encouragement arrives exactly when a weary soul needs it most. There are moments when your heart grows tired, not because you stop believing completely, but because you have carried disappointment for so long that hope itself feels exhausting. You prayed with sincerity, you waited with patience, you trusted for things that never unfolded the way you expected. And slowly, without realizing it, part of your spirit began protecting itself from future pain by expecting less from life. But listen carefully to me now. Guarding yourself from disappointment should never become the reason you stop believing that goodness is still possible. I know the hidden sadness you carry. I know the quiet ache that returns during moments when nobody else notices. I know there are dreams you no longer talk about because too much time has passed. You buried certain hopes deep within yourself, and convinced your heart to stop expecting anything beautiful from those places again. Yet even now, I have not forgotten the things you once placed before me with faith. My child, there are promises still unfolding beyond your current understanding. Not everything lost is gone forever. Not every silence means the story has ended. Sometimes what appears lifeless is simply waiting beneath the surface for the right season to awaken again. You have become so focused on what did not happen that you struggle to see what is still possible. Pain narrowed your vision. Fear convinced you to expect disappointment before blessing. And because of that, your soul became cautious about joy itself. But I did not create you to live permanently guarded against hope. Hope is not weakness. Hope is courage. It is the decision to believe that darkness will not last forever, even while standing in the middle of uncertainty. And that kind of faith carries power greater than you realize. There are some people listening right now who secretly feel ashamed of how discouraged they have become. You compare your current emotional state to the person you used to be. Once you were full of expectation. Once you believed easily. Once your prayers carried excitement instead of exhaustion. But difficult seasons changed you. Repeated disappointments wore your spirit down little by little. Yet I am not condemning you for becoming weary. I understand how pain affects the human heart. I understand how repeated delays test your confidence. And I am speaking gently to you now, because restoration begins not through shame, but through compassion. Stop attacking yourself for struggling emotionally. Stop believing you must hide every fear before approaching me. You do not need perfect faith for me to remain close to you. Even trembling faith still matters deeply. There are things happening within your life right now that your eyes cannot fully recognize yet. Certain doors remain closed because they are not aligned with your future peace. Certain delays are protecting you from paths that would drain your spirit later. And certain unanswered questions exist because the proper timing has not fully arrived. You want immediate understanding, but some truths only become clear after you continue walking forward. Think about how often you survived situations you once believed would destroy you completely. At the time, the pain felt unbearable, yet somehow strength continued carrying you one day at a time. That strength was not accidental. I was sustaining you even when you doubted whether you could continue. And hear me carefully tonight. You are still being guided even in seasons where clarity feels distant. Just because you cannot see the entire path does not mean there is no direction ahead. Trust often grows strongest in moments where certainty disappears. There is another thing I need you to release tonight. Release the belief that your mistakes permanently ruined your future. Some of you still carry guilt from seasons already finished. You replay old failures repeatedly, speaking against yourself as though your lowest moments define your identity forever. But your mistakes are chapters, not your permanent name. I see who you are becoming, not only who you used to be. I see the growth happening quietly inside you. I see the humility developing through hardship. I see the compassion forming through pain. I see the wisdom emerging from experiences you once wished had never happened. None of it has been wasted. Do not let shame continue imprisoning your heart. Shame convinces you to hide. Grace invites you to heal. You also need to stop believing that everyone else has life figured out while you remain lost. Many people are carrying hidden battles behind outward appearances. The world often teaches people to display strength while silently struggling within. Do not compare your behind-the-scenes pain with someone else's carefully presented image. Your journey is unique. Your healing process is unique. And the timing of your growth does not need to mirror anyone else's path. There are still beautiful moments waiting for you ahead. Friendships that will bring genuine peace. Opportunities that will restore confidence. Unexpected breakthroughs that will remind you life can still surprise you with goodness after long seasons of heaviness. Do not close your heart completely because of what hurt you before. A closed heart may avoid disappointment temporarily, but it also blocks healing, connection, and joy from entering fully. And listen closely to this truth. You are not abandoned in this season. Even while your emotions fluctuate, my faithfulness remains steady. Even while answers feel delayed, I am still working in ways beyond your understanding. Even while your heart feels tired, renewal is quietly beginning again. So breathe deeply tonight. Stop punishing yourself for needing reassurance. Stop expecting yourself to carry endless emotional weight without rest. You are allowed to heal slowly. You are allowed to hope again gradually. And you are allowed to believe that your story still contains meaningful chapters ahead. One day you will look back and realize this difficult season was not the place where your life ended. It was the place where deeper transformation quietly began. If you are ready to open your heart to hope again, type, "I am healing" in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration tonight. Stay until the end, because there is still more your soul needs to hear today. And if these words are bringing comfort into your heart, share this message with someone who may secretly be struggling with discouragement right now. Sometimes a single reminder of hope can keep someone from giving up entirely. There are moments when your heart feels caught between faith and fear. One part of you still wants to believe that better days are coming, while another part has become afraid to expect too much anymore. You have experienced enough disappointment to know how painful broken expectations can feel. And because of that, your spirit sometimes hesitates when hope begins rising again. But listen carefully to me now. Fear was never meant to become the voice that guides your future. I know the battles taking place within your thoughts. I know how often you replay painful memories, wondering whether things could have turned out differently. I know there are moments when regret quietly follows you, trying to convince you that you missed your chance, ruined your purpose, or delayed your destiny beyond repair. But hear me clearly tonight. Your story is not over because of mistakes, delays, or difficult seasons. You keep looking backward, searching for certainty in places already finished. But life cannot move forward while your spirit remains chained to yesterday. There are chapters you must stop reopening. Not because those moments did not matter, but because constantly reliving them keeps your heart trapped in pain instead of allowing healing to continue. My child, you are not who you were during your weakest season. You are not defined forever by moments where fear overcame your confidence. Growth has already been happening inside you, even when you failed to recognize it fully. Every difficult experience carried lessons, shaping your spirit quietly over time. The pain you walked through has made you more compassionate. The disappointments you survived have made you wiser. The loneliness you experienced has taught you how deeply human hearts need genuine connection. And the battles you thought would destroy you have actually revealed strength you never knew existed within you before. Do not despise your process simply because it unfolded painfully. Some transformations require pressure before hidden strength becomes visible. There are people listening right now who secretly feel emotionally exhausted from trying to hold everything together. You became the strong one for everyone else while neglecting your own soul. You continued helping others while silently feeling empty yourself. And over time, your spirit became tired from constantly pouring without receiving renewal in return. But you cannot continue living as though your own heart does not need care too. Even strong souls require restoration. Even those who encourage others need encouragement themselves. And tonight, I am reminding you that your emotional well-being matters deeply too. Stop ignoring the condition of your inner life while focusing only on responsibilities. Success without peace will still leave your spirit weary. Achievement without healing will still leave emptiness within. This is why I care about more than outward accomplishments. I care about the condition of your heart. There are things I am teaching you during this season that success alone could never teach. You are learning discernment, learning patience, learning how to recognize what truly matters beyond appearances, learning that peace cannot be built entirely upon temporary circumstances. And though the lessons have felt difficult, they are preparing you for a deeper kind of life than before. There is another truth I need you to hear tonight. You do not need to become perfect before you deserve peace. Some of you constantly delay joy because you believe you must first fix every flaw, solve every problem, and overcome every weakness completely. But if you wait until everything becomes perfect before allowing yourself peace, your soul will remain trapped in endless striving. Growth is a journey, not a performance. Healing unfolds gradually, wisdom develops through time, and transformation often happens quietly in ordinary moments you barely notice at first. Stop condemning yourself every time progress feels slow. Stop speaking harshly over your own life. The world already carries enough cruelty. Your own inner voice should not become another source of destruction against your spirit. Speak gently to yourself while growing. Speak hopefully over your future. Speak life instead of constant defeat. You also need to stop believing that because something has not happened yet, it never will. Fear often interprets delay as permanent failure, but timing changes everything. There are opportunities still moving toward your life that you cannot yet see clearly. There are relationships still being aligned. There are breakthroughs still unfolding quietly beyond your current awareness. Do not let impatience convince you that your best days already passed. Some of the greatest moments of your life have not even arrived yet. And listen carefully to this truth tonight. You are not invisible to me. I have seen every silent prayer, every tear cried behind closed doors, every moment you wanted to quit, but somehow kept going anyway. Your perseverance matters more than you realize. Even now, while you feel uncertain about certain parts of your future, I am still guiding your steps. You may not see the full picture yet, but direction is still unfolding, little by little. There are burdens you must stop carrying alone. Stop replaying fears you cannot control. Stop assuming worst-case scenarios before tomorrow even arrives. Anxiety steals strength from the present moment. While promising protection, it can never truly provide. Instead, breathe deeply tonight. Release the pressure to control every outcome. You are not responsible for forcing every answer into existence. Some things unfold naturally through patience, trust, and proper timing. Your life still carries purpose. Your future still contains beauty. And your current struggle is not the final definition of who you are becoming. One day you will look back and realize that even during the hardest moments, I never stopped guiding your path. Even when your faith felt weak, my faithfulness remained strong. Even when your heart became tired, I was still quietly carrying you forward. So do not give up now. You are closer to healing than you think, closer to peace than fear wants you to believe, and closer to breakthrough than your current circumstances suggest. If you are choosing to let go of fear tonight, type, "I choose peace," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive. And if these words are helping your heart tonight, share this message with someone who may secretly be carrying emotional exhaustion right now. Sometimes encouragement reaches a soul exactly when they are closest to losing hope. There are seasons when you feel as though you are standing in the middle of a storm that refuses to end. You keep waiting for relief, for clarity, for one moment where your heart can finally breathe without carrying constant pressure. Yet each day seems to bring another concern, another uncertainty, another weight pressing against your spirit. And slowly, without realizing it, exhaustion begins shaping the way you see your entire life. But listen carefully to me now. The storm surrounding you is not stronger than the peace I can place within you. You have spent too much time believing that peace can only exist after every problem disappears. You told yourself, when this situation changes, then I will finally rest. When this burden lifts, then I will finally feel secure. But if your peace depends entirely upon perfect circumstances, your soul will remain fragile whenever life becomes uncertain again. True peace is deeper than temporary comfort. It is the steady confidence that, even when life feels unstable, you are not abandoned. It is the quiet assurance that your future is not controlled solely by fear, chaos, or human failure. And that kind of peace begins within the heart, long before circumstances completely change around you. My child, I know how difficult it has been to remain hopeful lately. I know the pressure you carry silently. I know how often you feel mentally tired from overthinking situations you cannot fully control. There are nights when your thoughts become so loud that rest feels impossible. Your mind keeps searching for solutions, while your heart keeps longing for reassurance. Yet even there, in the middle of that inner struggle, I remain beside you. You are not weak because you became tired. You are not failing because discouragement visited your heart. Even strong people reach moments where their spirit needs renewal. But exhaustion should never become the place where you decide your future has no hope left. There are still beautiful things ahead of you. There are still prayers, moving toward fulfillment, even if timing feels delayed. There are still moments of unexpected joy waiting beyond this difficult season. Fear cannot see those things clearly, but they are real nonetheless. I need you to stop expecting yourself to carry tomorrow before it arrives. So much anxiety comes from trying to mentally solve problems that have not even happened yet. You imagine worst-case scenarios repeatedly, until your heart becomes drained by fears that may never become reality at all. But worry cannot protect your future. It only steals peace from the present moment. You were not created to live trapped inside constant anticipation of disaster. You were created to live with trust, one day at a time. There are things unfolding behind the scenes that you cannot currently recognize. Conversations are being arranged. Opportunities are developing quietly. Certain doors are being prepared, while others are being removed for your protection. And although you cannot yet see the entire picture clearly, movement is still happening. Do not confuse silence with stagnation. Seeds grow silently beneath the soil long before visible fruit appears. And right now, unseen growth is still taking place within your life. There are some people listening tonight who secretly feel disappointed in themselves. You expected to be further ahead, emotionally, financially, spiritually, or personally by now. You compare your current reality with the life you imagined years ago, and sadness quietly settles over your heart. But listen carefully. Your worth is not determined by how closely your life matches old expectations. Sometimes the path changes because your understanding needed to deepen. Sometimes dreams evolve because your soul was created for something greater than what you originally imagined. And sometimes delays exist because you are being prepared for a future requiring stronger foundations. Do not condemn yourself for still being in process. Growth takes time, healing takes patience. Wisdom develops gradually through experiences both joyful and painful. And let me remind you of something important tonight. You have already survived seasons you once believed would completely destroy you. There were moments you thought you could not continue, yet somehow strength carried you forward again. That strength was not accidental. I was sustaining you through every hidden battle. Even now, while your heart feels uncertain about certain areas of life, I am still guiding you step by step. You do not need complete understanding before moving forward. You only need enough faith to continue trusting one day at a time. There are burdens you must finally release tonight. Release the need to control every outcome. Release the fear that constantly tells you something terrible is about to happen. Release relationships that continuously drain your peace while offering little genuine care in return. Release guilt for mistakes already forgiven. Your soul cannot heal while carrying endless emotional weight. Peace grows where surrender begins. You also need to stop speaking hopelessness over your future. Words matter deeply. The way you speak about your life shapes the atmosphere inside your heart. If you constantly declare defeat, discouragement will continue deepening its roots within your spirit. But when you begin speaking with faith again, even quietly, hope starts breathing within you once more. There are still meaningful relationships ahead of you, still opportunities waiting to unfold, still moments where laughter will return naturally again. Your current pain is not permanent. This difficult chapter is not the final conclusion of your story. And hear this clearly tonight. I have not forgotten your tears. I have not ignored your prayers. I have not overlooked your silent endurance through difficult days. Every moment you continued moving forward despite discouragement matters deeply. One day you will look back and realize that even through confusion, delays, and emotional exhaustion, I was still carrying you toward deeper healing than you could understand at the time. So breathe again tonight. Rest your mind for a moment. Stop trying to solve your entire future before tomorrow even arrives. You are allowed to trust me with the pieces you do not yet understand. If you are ready to release your burdens and receive peace again, type, "My heart will rest," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration tonight. Stay with me until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to hear today. And if these messages are helping strengthen your faith and bring peace into your life, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may secretly be struggling tonight. And if you feel led to support this ministry so these messages can continue reaching weary hearts around the world, you can do so through the link given below. There are moments when your heart becomes weary from carrying questions that seem to have no answers. You pray, you wait, you try to remain faithful, yet certain situations continue stretching on longer than you expected. And in those quiet moments, when nobody else can hear the thoughts moving through your mind, you begin asking yourself whether your efforts even matter anymore. But listen carefully to me now. Nothing you have endured with faith has been wasted. Not one tear, not one prayer, not one moment where you kept going despite exhaustion. You keep measuring progress by what you can immediately see, but many of the most important transformations happen invisibly at first. You look for sudden change while I am building deeper strength within you day by day. Think about how mountains are formed. Great pressure shapes them over time. In the same way, the pressure you have faced has been shaping endurance, wisdom, compassion, and resilience within your spirit. My child, I know how difficult it feels when life becomes uncertain. I know there are moments when your confidence weakens because too many disappointments arrived, one after another. You tried to remain hopeful, but repeated delays slowly drained your expectation. And now part of your heart hesitates whenever hope begins rising again, because you fear being hurt another time. But I do not want fear to become the foundation of your future. Fear narrows your vision until you can no longer recognize possibility. Fear convinces you that because pain happened before, goodness cannot happen again. Yet your past disappointments are not prophecies over your future. There are still chapters ahead of you that will restore your joy again. There are still moments waiting to unfold that will remind you life carries beauty beyond what your current season suggests. Do not allow temporary heaviness to permanently close your heart. You have also spent too much time blaming yourself for everything that went wrong. Some of you carry guilt for relationships that failed, opportunities that disappeared, or mistakes you wish you could undo. And because of that guilt, you quietly began believing you no longer deserve peace or restoration. But hear me clearly tonight. Growth is not built upon endless self-condemnation. Yes, mistakes teach lessons. Yes, wisdom often develops through painful experiences. But constantly punishing yourself for the past will not heal your future. There comes a moment where you must stop reopening wounds that I am already trying to restore. You are not the same person you were during your darkest season. You have grown since then, learned since then, changed since then. And while you still carry scars, Scars are evidence of healing, not proof that you are forever broken. There are some people listening tonight who secretly feel emotionally isolated. You are surrounded by conversations, yet still feel unseen. You continue supporting others, while inwardly longing for someone to understand your own struggles too. And because you became used to carrying everything alone, vulnerability now feels uncomfortable. But you were never meant to walk through life completely emotionally disconnected. Isolation may feel safer temporarily, but over time it deepens loneliness within the soul. There are meaningful connections still ahead for you. There are people who will value your heart sincerely instead of only benefiting from your kindness. Do not let past betrayals convince you genuine love no longer exists. I also need you to stop believing that, because your journey has been difficult, your future must remain difficult forever. Seasons change, pain shifts, healing unfolds, and what feels permanent now may later become the very chapter that taught you how strong you truly are. The night does not last forever. Morning always arrives eventually, even after the darkest hours. There are hidden blessings developing through this season that you cannot fully recognize yet. Patience is growing within you. Discernment is becoming sharper. Your understanding of what truly matters is deepening. And though the process has been uncomfortable, it is preparing you for a life built upon stronger foundations than before. You keep asking for clarity while I am teaching you trust. You keep demanding certainty while I am building faith. And although those lessons feel difficult now, one day you will understand why this season mattered so deeply. There are things ahead of you that require the strength currently being formed within your spirit. That is why you cannot give up now. This process has purpose, even when you cannot fully see it yet. And let me remind you of something important tonight. You do not need to have everything figured out before peace becomes possible. Some of the most peaceful people are not those with perfect lives, but those who learned how to trust even while uncertainty remained. Stop exhausting yourself trying to control every outcome. Stop mentally living in tomorrow's fears before tomorrow even arrives. You cannot carry endless pressure forever without your soul becoming weary. Instead, breathe deeply tonight. Rest for a moment. Release the pressure to solve your entire future immediately. One step at a time is enough. One day at a time is enough. There are prayers still unfolding beyond your current understanding. There are doors still waiting to open at the proper time. There are opportunities quietly approaching your path even while you feel uncertain now. And hear this clearly. You are not forgotten. I still see every hidden battle. I still hear every silent prayer. I still remain beside you through every difficult season. Your life still carries purpose far beyond what fear wants you to believe. One day you will look back and realize that even through confusion, delays, and emotional exhaustion, I was still guiding you toward healing, wisdom, and renewal. So tonight, choose not to surrender to hopelessness. Choose not to let fear define your future. Choose to believe that your story still contains meaningful chapters ahead. If you are ready to trust the process, even when you cannot see the full picture yet, type, "I will keep going," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration tonight. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive today. And if this message is bringing peace into your heart, share it with someone who may secretly be struggling with discouragement tonight. Sometimes one word of hope can help a weary soul continue forward one more day. There are moments when your soul becomes so tired that even small battles begin to feel overwhelming. You wake up already carrying emotional weight before the day has fully begun. Your mind races through unfinished worries, unanswered questions, and fears about what tomorrow might bring. And because you have been strong for so long, people around you may never realize how deeply exhausted your heart has become. But listen carefully to me now. I see the hidden weariness you carry, and I never intended for you to fight every battle alone. You have spent too much time trying to hold yourself together while silently breaking inside. You became skilled at hiding pain behind routine. You learned how to continue functioning even when your spirit felt drained. And eventually, survival became your normal way of living. But I did not create you merely to survive endless pressure. I created you to live with peace, purpose, and hope, deeper than your circumstances. My child, I know there are moments when you feel emotionally numb because disappointment has repeated itself too many times. You hoped certain people would stay, but they walked away. You believed certain prayers would be answered quickly, yet silence stretched longer than expected. You imagined your life would look different by now, and because reality unfolded differently, discouragement quietly settled into your heart. But hear me clearly tonight. Delayed answers do not mean abandoned prayers. Closed doors do not mean your future has ended, and difficult seasons do not mean I have stopped working within your life. There are things happening beyond your current understanding. Some delays are protecting you from paths that would have wounded your spirit later. Some endings are clearing space for healthier beginnings. And some unanswered questions exist because the timing required for clarity has not fully arrived yet. You keep asking why certain things happen, but not every answer can be understood immediately. Some truths only become visible after you continue walking forward. One day you will look back and recognize how certain disappointments redirected you toward deeper peace than you could see at the time. Do not let temporary confusion convince you that your life lacks direction. Even when you cannot see the entire road ahead, I am still guiding your steps little by little. There are also things you need to stop carrying tonight. Stop carrying guilt from seasons already finished. Stop carrying responsibility for outcomes completely outside your control. Stop carrying the pressure to fix everything immediately before allowing yourself rest. You have become too harsh toward yourself lately. Every mistake becomes another reason to criticize your worth. Every delay becomes another excuse to believe you are failing. But growth does not flourish under constant condemnation. Healing requires grace. Transformation requires patience. And your soul cannot breathe freely while endlessly attacking itself. You are still becoming, still learning, still healing. And there is no shame in being a work in progress. There are people listening tonight who secretly feel afraid of the future. You wonder whether life will always feel this uncertain. You question whether peace is truly possible again after everything you have experienced. But fear only shows you shadows while hiding the possibilities still waiting ahead. There are peaceful moments your future has not yet revealed. There are relationships that will bring comfort instead of confusion. There are opportunities that will restore confidence where disappointment once weakened your spirit. And there are breakthroughs already moving quietly toward your life even now. Do not decide your entire future based upon one painful season. Think about how many difficult moments you already survived. There were days you believed you could not continue, yet somehow strength carried you forward again. That strength was not accidental. Even in moments where you felt emotionally empty, I remained beside you, sustaining your spirit one step at a time. You are stronger than fear wants you to believe. And hear this carefully tonight. Rest is not weakness. Slowing down does not mean failure. Some of you are emotionally exhausted because you never truly allow your soul to pause. You constantly carry pressure, responsibility, and worry without giving yourself permission to breathe deeply again. But your heart needs renewal. Your spirit needs moments of stillness. Your mind needs peace beyond endless overthinking. The world teaches you to constantly strive, constantly compare, constantly chase approval and achievement. But endless striving without inner peace eventually leaves the soul empty, no matter how successful life appears outwardly. I care about your inner life more deeply than appearances ever could. There is another truth I need you to remember tonight. You are not forgotten simply because your season feels quiet. Some of the deepest transformations happen silently beneath the surface. Roots grow before fruit appears. Healing begins internally before visible changes unfold outwardly. And faith often strengthens most during seasons where certainty feels distant. Do not underestimate what is happening inside you right now. Compassion is growing where bitterness once tried to live. Wisdom is developing through experiences that once only felt painful. Discernment is becoming sharper, and slowly, quietly, your heart is learning how to depend less upon temporary things and more upon lasting truth. This season is not meaningless. Your pain is not pointless. And your future is not empty. One day you will look back and realize that even through uncertainty, emotional exhaustion, and unanswered questions, I was still preparing you for a deeper life than before. So tonight, release the pressure to carry everything alone. Stop punishing yourself for being tired. Stop expecting yourself to have every answer immediately. You are allowed to rest while healing continues. And if you are ready to let peace enter your heart again, type, "I receive rest," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration tonight. Stay with me until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to hear today. And if these messages are helping your heart feel lighter, share this message with someone who may secretly be struggling emotionally tonight. Sometimes one reminder of hope can become the beginning of someone's healing journey. There are moments when you quietly wonder whether anyone truly understands the battles happening inside your heart. You continue smiling. You continue fulfilling responsibilities. You continue showing up for others. Yet beneath the surface, there are fears you rarely speak aloud and wounds you still carry silently. And because so much of your struggle remains hidden, you sometimes feel alone even in crowded places. But listen carefully to me now. You are not unseen. You are not forgotten. And you are not carrying your pain without purpose. I know the silent disappointments you have tried to bury. I know the prayers that became quieter over time because waiting felt exhausting. I know there are parts of your heart that became cautious after too many moments of hurt. Yet even through all of that, I have never stopped walking beside you. My child, there are things happening within you right now that you cannot fully recognize yet. You keep looking for dramatic outward change while I am healing deeper places inside your spirit first. And although inner transformation often feels slow, it creates strength that outward success alone could never provide. There are lessons your soul could only learn through certain seasons. Compassion often grows through pain. Wisdom develops through disappointment. Patience forms through waiting. And faith deepens when certainty disappears and trust becomes your only option. Do not despise the process simply because it feels uncomfortable. You have spent too much time believing that your value depends on performance. You measure yourself by accomplishments, approval, productivity, and comparison. When things go well, you feel temporarily worthy. But when life becomes difficult, you quietly begin doubting your importance. Yet your worth was never meant to rise and fall according to circumstances. Long before you achieved anything, you already mattered deeply to me. There are people listening tonight who secretly feel emotionally drained from trying to prove themselves constantly. You work hard to earn acceptance. You try to become enough for everyone around you. And eventually, your soul becomes exhausted from carrying endless pressure to meet expectations that constantly change. But peace will never fully grow in a heart trapped in endless striving. At some point, you must stop building your identity upon temporary approval. Human opinions shift constantly. One moment people celebrate you, and the next moment they criticize you. If your confidence depends entirely upon external validation, your peace will always remain fragile. I am calling you into a deeper confidence tonight. Not confidence built upon perfection, but confidence rooted in knowing you are loved even while still growing. You do not need to hide your weaknesses from me. You do not need to pretend you have everything together. I already see every hidden fear, every unanswered question, every place where discouragement still lingers. And still, My presence remains beside you. There are also things you must stop believing about yourself. Stop believing you are too broken for healing. Stop believing your mistakes permanently ruined your future. Stop believing that because certain people fail to value you, your worth somehow disappeared. Other people's inability to recognize your value does not change the truth about who you are. Some of you are still carrying emotional wounds from rejection. You replay words spoken over your life years ago. You remember moments where you felt abandoned, overlooked, or misunderstood. And without realizing it, those experiences slowly shape the way you see yourself now. But hear me clearly tonight. Rejection is not your identity. Disappointment is not your identity. Failure is not your identity. Those are experiences you survived, not permanent definitions over your life. There is still beauty within you that pain could not destroy. There is still purpose within you that fear cannot erase. And there is still light within your spirit, even after everything you have endured. Do not let temporary darkness convince you the light no longer exists. There are blessings still approaching your life that require the healing currently happening within you. This is why patience matters. If certain doors open before your heart healed properly, old wounds would sabotage new opportunities. But as restoration continues inside you, your ability to carry future blessings with peace and wisdom grows stronger. You keep asking for immediate change while I am preparing deeper stability within your soul first. And let me remind you tonight that healing is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes healing looks like slowly learning to breathe without constant fear. Sometimes it looks like resting without guilt. Sometimes it looks like forgiving yourself after years of self-condemnation. Sometimes it looks like choosing hope again after disappointment taught your heart to expect less from life. Small steps still matter deeply. There are moments ahead of you that will restore your joy again. There are people you have not yet met who will genuinely appreciate your heart. There are peaceful mornings waiting beyond this difficult season. And there are answers already unfolding quietly beyond your current understanding. Do not give up now because your breakthrough feels delayed. Some of the most meaningful changes happen gradually beneath the surface, long before visible fruit appears. You are becoming stronger than you realize, wiser than before, more compassionate, more discerning, more grounded in truth instead of appearances. And one day you will recognize that even this painful season carried purpose beyond what you could see at the time. So tonight, stop speaking hopelessness over your future. Stop attacking yourself for still being in process. Stop carrying shame from seasons already finished. You are allowed to heal gradually. You are allowed to rest while growing. And you are allowed to believe that your future still contains peace, purpose, and restoration. If you are ready to let go of self-doubt tonight, type, "I am still worthy," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive. And if this message is strengthening your heart tonight, share it with someone who may secretly be struggling with feelings of rejection or discouragement. Sometimes one reminder of truth can begin healing wounds hidden for years. There are moments when your heart feels pulled in so many different directions that you no longer know what peace even feels like. Your thoughts race from one worry to another. Your responsibilities continue growing. And while everyone around you expects you to remain strong, inside you quietly wonder how much longer you can carry this emotional weight without breaking. But listen carefully to me now. You were never meant to live crushed beneath endless pressure. I am calling your spirit back into peace. You have spent too much time trying to control things beyond your power. You replay conversations repeatedly, hoping to change outcomes already finished. You overthink future situations before they even happen. You prepare yourself emotionally for worst-case scenarios, as though fear can somehow protect you from pain. Yet all that anxiety has done is drain your joy from the present moment. My child, there are battles you cannot win through endless worry. Fear cannot create peace. Overthinking cannot guarantee safety. and constantly carrying emotional tension will eventually exhaust your soul. You need rest deeper than physical sleep. Your mind needs stillness. Your spirit needs reassurance. And your heart needs to remember that you are not alone in this journey. There are some people listening tonight who feel emotionally overwhelmed because too many burdens arrived at once. Family pressure, financial stress, relationship struggles, unanswered prayers, hidden disappointments, and because everything piled together over time, your soul slowly became tired in ways difficult to explain to others. But I see every hidden weight you carry. I know the moments when you feel mentally exhausted before the day even begins. I know the nights when your mind refuses to become quiet. I know how difficult it feels to continue encouraging others while inwardly longing for encouragement yourself. Yet even in those moments where you feel emotionally stretched thin, I remain beside you. You are not failing because you became tired. Even faithful hearts need renewal. There is another truth I need you to understand tonight. You cannot heal while constantly living in survival mode. Some of you became so accustomed to stress that peace now feels unfamiliar. You expect disappointment before blessing. You anticipate rejection before connection. You assume problems before possibilities. And because fear became such a regular companion, hope started feeling risky again. But I did not create you to live imprisoned by constant anxiety. The future ahead of you still contains beauty beyond your current understanding. There are peaceful moments waiting for you that fear cannot currently imagine. There are answers unfolding quietly behind scenes you cannot yet see. And there are doors still opening at the proper time, even while your heart feels uncertain now. Do not allow temporary heaviness to define your entire future. You also need to stop believing that every difficult season means you are being punished. Some storms are not destruction. Some storms are redirection. Some storms remove unhealthy attachments. And some storms reveal strength within you that comfort could never uncover. The pressure you faced did not destroy your spirit, because I have been sustaining you through every hidden battle. Think about how many moments you already survived that once felt unbearable. There were nights you thought your heart could not endure any more pain, yet you continued forward. There were disappointments that left you broken for a season, yet healing slowly began again over time. There were fears that once controlled your thoughts completely, yet now they no longer hold the same power over you. That growth matters more than you realize. My child, stop condemning yourself for not having everything figured out. You are still learning, still growing, still becoming. And growth always includes moments of uncertainty. The world pressures you to constantly appear strong, successful, and emotionally unshaken. But real transformation is rarely glamorous. Healing often happens quietly in hidden moments where nobody applauds your progress except heaven itself. Sometimes growth looks like simply getting out of bed after emotional exhaustion tried convincing you to give up. Sometimes healing looks like choosing not to return to toxic patterns anymore. Sometimes faith looks like whispering a small prayer even when your heart feels tired. Small victories still matter deeply. There are things I am teaching you through this season that comfort alone could never teach. You are learning discernment, learning emotional boundaries, learning how to protect your peace instead of constantly sacrificing your well-being to please everyone around you. And hear this carefully tonight. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your heart. Some people drain your spirit while contributing little peace in return. Loving others does not mean abandoning your own emotional health completely. You must learn when to step back from environments that constantly weaken your peace. There are blessings ahead of you that require a healthier inner foundation. This is why healing matters so deeply right now. If old wounds continue controlling your reactions, fear will sabotage opportunities meant to bring joy into your future. But as restoration continues inside you, your ability to receive peace, love, and purpose grows stronger. Do not rush the process simply because it feels uncomfortable. Deep roots require time to grow. And let me remind you of something important tonight. Your life is not falling apart simply because certain things are changing. Sometimes transformation requires releasing what no longer belongs in your future. And although letting go feels painful initially, it creates space for healthier things to enter later. Trust what I am doing, even when understanding feels incomplete. There are still beautiful chapters ahead of you, still moments of laughter waiting to return naturally again, still meaningful relationships approaching your life, still prayers unfolding quietly beyond your current awareness. You are not abandoned in this season. You are being guided through it one step at a time. So tonight, stop carrying tomorrow's burdens before tomorrow arrives. Stop exhausting your soul, trying to control every outcome. Breathe deeply again. Rest your thoughts for a moment. And remember that peace is still possible even here. If you are ready to release anxiety and receive peace tonight, type, "I let go of fear" in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to hear. And if this message is helping calm your heart tonight, share it with someone who may secretly be struggling with stress or emotional exhaustion right now. Sometimes one message of hope can remind a weary soul that they do not have to carry everything alone. There are moments when you feel as though life has become one long journey through uncertainty. You keep moving forward, but your heart quietly asks questions. Your lips no longer speak aloud. Will things ever truly become lighter? Will peace ever stay? Will the prayers I carried for so long finally be answered? And because you have walked through so many difficult seasons already, part of you has become afraid to hope too deeply again. But listen carefully to me now. Your future is not as empty as fear has tried to convince you. You have survived too much to believe that this season is the end of your story. There were moments you thought would completely break your spirit, yet somehow you remained standing. There were nights when tears became your only language, yet morning still came again. There were disappointments that wounded your heart deeply, yet healing slowly continued beneath the surface, even when you could not feel it fully. My child, I have been carrying you through far more than you realize. You often focus on what still feels unfinished, while overlooking how much growth has already taken place within you. You are not the same person you once were. The pain you survived changed your perspective. The waiting seasons strengthened your endurance. The heartbreaks deepened your compassion. And the prayers you continued whispering through uncertainty built faith stronger than appearances alone. Do not underestimate how far you have already come. There are some people listening tonight who secretly feel discouraged because life did not unfold according to the timeline they imagined. You thought certain doors would already be open by now. You expected specific relationships to last forever. You imagined your life would feel more secure, more settled, more complete at this stage. But instead, you found yourself walking through delays, unexpected endings, and unanswered questions. Yet hear me clearly tonight. Delays are not proof that your life lacks purpose. Sometimes timing changes because your spirit is being prepared for something deeper than what you originally requested. You keep asking for quick answers while I am building lasting foundations within you. Think about how many times impatience led you toward situations that later wounded your peace. Think about how often you wanted immediate results without realizing certain doors would have harmed you if they opened too early. Protection does not always feel comfortable while it is happening. Sometimes it feels like disappointment. Sometimes it feels like silence. Sometimes it feels like waiting longer than expected. But one day you will understand why certain things unfolded slowly. There are blessings ahead of you that require emotional maturity, wisdom, and inner healing in order to be sustained properly. This is why your process matters so deeply. If old fears still control your reactions, new opportunities may become overwhelmed by insecurity. But as healing continues within you, your ability to carry future peace and purpose grows stronger. Do not rush your own transformation simply because waiting feels uncomfortable. You also need to stop measuring your worth through comparison. Some of you secretly feel behind in life because you constantly compare your journey with someone else's visible success. But comparison blinds you to the unique path I prepared specifically for you. Not every flower blooms during the same season. Not every story unfolds at the same pace. And not every purpose requires the same timeline. Your journey is unique because your calling is unique. There are things I am developing inside you that cannot grow through shallow experiences alone. Depth requires process. Wisdom requires patience. And true peace often develops through surviving storms instead of avoiding them entirely. You are becoming stronger than you realize. Even now, while certain prayers still remain unanswered, growth is happening quietly beneath the surface. Discernment is sharpening. Compassion is deepening. Your understanding of what truly matters is becoming clearer. And though the process has felt painful at times, it is preparing you for a future built upon stronger foundations than before. My child, stop believing that because certain chapters ended painfully, the rest of your story must also remain painful forever. Seasons change, healing unfolds. Joy returns gradually, and hope rises again even after long periods of discouragement. The darkness does not last forever. There are moments of restoration waiting ahead that your current understanding cannot yet fully imagine. There are peaceful mornings coming after these restless nights. There are relationships ahead that will bring genuine support instead of confusion. There are opportunities being aligned quietly behind scenes you cannot yet see clearly. Do not surrender to hopelessness simply because the process feels long. And hear this carefully tonight. You are not forgotten in your waiting season. Every silent prayer still matters. Every moment you continued moving forward despite exhaustion still matters. Every tear cried in private still matters. I have not overlooked your perseverance. Some of the most meaningful transformations happen slowly, quietly, and invisibly before visible fruit finally appears. This season is not punishment. It is preparation. You keep asking when everything will change around you, while I am first changing what happens within you. Because once your heart becomes steadier, wiser, and more deeply rooted in peace, the blessings ahead will no longer control you through fear. You are learning how to trust beyond appearances, learning how to remain hopeful without demanding immediate proof, learning how to rest, even while some questions remain unanswered. And those lessons will strengthen your future more deeply than you currently understand. So, tonight, release the pressure to solve your entire future immediately. Stop condemning yourself for still being in process. Stop assuming delay means denial. Breathe deeply again and trust that even now, movement is happening beyond what your eyes can currently see. Your story still carries purpose. Your future still carries beauty. And your life still carries meaning far beyond what fear wants you to believe. If you are choosing to trust the timing of your life tonight, type, "I trust the process," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive tonight. And if these messages have been helping strengthen your heart and renew your faith, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may secretly be struggling through a difficult season right now. And if you feel led to support this ministry so these messages can continue reaching weary hearts around the world, you can do so through the link given below. There are moments when your heart feels weary from carrying invisible battles that nobody else fully understands. People may see your smile, your routine, your outward strength, but they do not always see the silent wars happening within your thoughts. They do not see the fears you fight at night, the questions you carry quietly, or the emotional exhaustion hidden beneath your daily responsibilities. But listen carefully to me now. I see every hidden struggle, and not one moment of your pain has gone unnoticed before me. You have spent too much time trying to appear strong, while your soul quietly longed for rest. You convinced yourself that vulnerability meant weakness, so you kept carrying burdens silently. You kept telling yourself to push through, even while your heart became heavier day after day after day. But I never created you to live constantly overwhelmed by pressure and fear. My child, there are things within you that need healing, not hiding. You do not need to pretend you are unaffected by everything you have endured. Some experiences wounded your confidence deeply. Some disappointments made you question your worth. Some betrayals changed the way you trust people. And because those wounds remained unhealed for too long, they slowly began shaping the way you see yourself and your future. But hear me clearly tonight. Pain should never become your permanent identity. What happened to you matters, but it does not define the entirety of who you are. The heartbreaks, failures, rejections, and disappointments you experienced are chapters of your story, not the final conclusion. There is still light within you that darkness could not destroy. There are people listening tonight who secretly feel emotionally stuck between wanting to move forward and being afraid of getting hurt again. You want peace, yet fear keeps making you emotionally guarded. You desire connection, yet disappointment taught you to protect your heart from vulnerability. And slowly, without realizing it, fear became a wall between you and the deeper life you long for. But walls built from fear eventually imprison the person hiding behind them. I am calling you into healing, not isolation. Healing does not mean forgetting your pain. It means no longer allowing pain to control your future completely. There are still meaningful relationships ahead of you. There are still moments where trust, joy, and peace will return naturally again. Do not allow temporary heartbreak to permanently close your heart. You also need to stop believing that your weaknesses make you unworthy. Some of you constantly focus on flaws, failures, and shortcomings while completely overlooking the strength that has already developed inside you. You survived things that once felt impossible. You kept going through seasons that nearly broke your spirit. You continued searching for hope, even while carrying exhaustion deep within your soul. That perseverance matters more than you realize. And hear this carefully tonight. You do not need to become perfect before you deserve peace. Some of you keep delaying joy because you think you must first solve every problem, overcome every weakness, and fully understand every unanswered question. But peace is not reserved only for people with perfect lives. Peace grows in hearts willing to trust even while healing continues. There are things I am teaching you through this season that comfort alone could never teach. You are learning discernment about who deserves access to your energy. You are learning emotional boundaries after years of overextending yourself. You are learning how to recognize your own worth beyond external approval. And slowly, quietly, your spirit is becoming stronger than before. You may not fully recognize your growth yet, because transformation often feels gradual while living through it. But one day you will look back and realize how much your perspective changed. The things that once destroyed your peace completely no longer hold the same power over you now. The fears that once controlled your thoughts have weakened. And the person you are becoming carries deeper wisdom than the person you used to be. Do not rush the process simply because it feels uncomfortable. Some roots grow deeply before visible fruit appears. And right now, deep healing is still unfolding within your spirit. There are also burdens you need to release tonight. Release the pressure to constantly prove your worth to others. Release the need to carry every emotional weight alone. Release the guilt from mistakes already forgiven. Release the fear that tells you your future must remain painful because your past contained suffering. Your past is not the final prophecy over your life. There are still beautiful chapters ahead of you. There are peaceful mornings your future has not yet revealed. There are opportunities already moving toward your path, quietly beyond your current understanding. And there are answers unfolding even now while your heart feels uncertain. Do not let temporary discouragement convince you that nothing good is coming. My child, You are not forgotten during this season of healing. Every silent prayer still matters. Every moment you chose not to give up still matters. Every tear cried in private still matters. I have remained beside you through every hidden battle. And although the process has felt slow, restoration is still happening. You keep asking when everything around you will change, while I am first rebuilding what happens within you. Because once your heart becomes steadier, healthier, and more deeply rooted in peace, the blessings ahead will no longer be sabotaged by fear, insecurity, or unresolved pain. This process carries purpose. So tonight, stop attacking yourself for still healing. Stop believing your journey is behind schedule. Stop expecting yourself to carry endless emotional weight without rest. Breathe deeply again and remember that your life still carries beauty beyond this difficult season. You are growing stronger even now. If you are ready to let healing continue in your heart tonight, type, "I am moving forward" in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive tonight. And if these messages are helping renew your heart and strengthen your faith, share this message with someone who may secretly be struggling emotionally right now. Sometimes one reminder of hope can help a weary soul begin believing in healing again. There are moments when your soul grows tired from carrying unanswered questions for too long. You keep trying to understand why certain things happened the way they did. Why some doors closed unexpectedly. Why some people walked away. Why certain prayers seemed to remain unanswered despite all the faith you carried within your heart. And because you cannot fully see the reason behind every painful season, discouragement slowly begins whispering that perhaps your life is drifting without direction. But listen carefully to me now. Even when you do not understand the path you are walking, I am still guiding your steps with purpose. You often believe clarity must come before peace, but many times peace begins when you choose to trust, even while questions remain unanswered. If you waited until every mystery was solved before allowing yourself rest, your soul would remain trapped in endless striving. There are things your human understanding cannot fully grasp in this moment, yet that does not mean your journey lacks meaning. My child, I know how exhausting uncertainty can feel. I know the pressure of carrying hopes that have not yet unfolded. I know there are moments when your heart becomes weary from waiting for change. Yet even in those moments where your faith feels fragile, my faithfulness remains steady. You are not abandoned because your season feels difficult. Some of the deepest transformations happen during periods where life feels unclear. Think about how the sky looks just before dawn. Darkness often appears strongest moments before light begins breaking through the horizon. In the same way, the heaviness surrounding you now is not proof that hope has disappeared forever. There is still movement happening beyond what your eyes can currently see. You keep focusing on visible delays while overlooking the invisible growth unfolding within you. Your patience has deepened. Your discernment has sharpened. Your compassion for others has grown stronger through pain. And although you sometimes feel emotionally exhausted, your spirit is becoming more resilient than before. Do not underestimate the strength already developing inside you. There are people listening tonight who secretly feel disappointed in themselves because life has not unfolded according to their expectations. You imagined being further ahead by now, emotionally, financially, spiritually, or personally. And because reality looks different than your original plans, you quietly question whether you somehow failed along the way. But hear me clearly tonight. A changed path does not mean a ruined purpose. Sometimes redirection becomes necessary because your future requires a different road than the one you originally imagined. And although detours feel frustrating while living through them, one day you will recognize how certain changes protected your peace and reshaped your future for the better. Not every closed door was rejection. Some were rescue. There are relationships you cried over that would have eventually damaged your spirit if they remained. There are opportunities you desperately wanted that would have led you away from deeper peace later. And there are delays that existed because your heart needed healing before receiving what you prayed for. Timing matters more than you realize. You keep asking why the process takes so long, but deep roots cannot form overnight. Lasting healing requires patience. Wisdom develops through experience, and true transformation often unfolds quietly over time instead of instantly. My child, stop condemning yourself for still being in process. You are still learning how to trust after disappointment, still learning how to rest after seasons of constant pressure, still learning how to love yourself after carrying rejection for too long. And there is no shame in healing gradually. Some wounds close slowly because they touched deep places within your soul, but slow healing is still healing. There are also burdens you need to release tonight. Release the pressure to constantly compare your journey with others. Comparison steals peace by convincing you that someone else's timeline should become the measurement of your worth. But your path was never designed to mirror another person's story exactly. You are growing in ways unique to your purpose. There are things I am teaching you through this season that success alone could never teach. You are learning emotional resilience, learning discernment about who deserves access to your heart, learning how to recognize peace beyond temporary comfort. And those lessons will strengthen your future more deeply than you currently understand. Do not let temporary discouragement blind you to the beauty still ahead. There are peaceful mornings waiting beyond these restless nights. There are conversations ahead that will restore hope inside your spirit again. There are opportunities already unfolding quietly beyond your current awareness. And there are moments of joy your future still carries even after everything you have endured. Your life is not over because this season became difficult. And hear this carefully tonight. I have not forgotten the prayers you whispered years ago. I have not overlooked the tears cried in silence. I have not ignored the moments you kept going despite exhaustion. Every act of perseverance matters deeply before me. One day you will look back and realize that even during seasons of confusion and waiting, I was still building something meaningful within your life. You may not fully understand the process now, but understanding often arrives later. For now, trust is enough. One step at a time is enough. One day at a time is enough. So tonight, stop punishing yourself for not having every answer. Stop believing that delays mean your future contains no hope. Stop allowing fear to define the direction of your thoughts. Breathe deeply again. And remember that your story still carries purpose, healing, and restoration beyond what your current circumstances suggest. If you are choosing to trust, even without complete understanding tonight, type, "I will trust your timing," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive tonight. And if these messages are strengthening your heart and renewing your hope, share this message with someone who may secretly be struggling through uncertainty right now. Sometimes one reminder of faith can help a weary soul continue moving forward again. There are moments when your heart quietly asks whether you are truly making progress at all. You keep trying to move forward, yet certain struggles seem to return again and again. Some wounds still ache unexpectedly. Some fears still whisper late at night. And because healing has taken longer than you imagined, discouragement tries to convince you that nothing inside you is really changing. But listen carefully to me now. Growth is still happening within you, even when it feels slow, invisible, and incomplete. You often expect transformation to arrive dramatically, but many of the deepest changes happen quietly over time. Healing unfolds in layers. Strength develops through repetition. Peace grows gradually inside a heart, learning how to trust again after disappointment. My child, do not judge your entire journey by moments where you still feel weak. There are things you handle now with wisdom that once completely shattered your peace. There are fears that no longer control you the way they once did. There are situations you survived that once seemed impossible to endure. And although you may still feel tired at times, you are not the same person you used to be. Your growth may feel slow to you because you live inside the process daily. But I see every step forward, even the small ones you overlook. I see the moments you chose peace instead of reacting from anger. I see the times you resisted returning to unhealthy patterns. I see the quiet prayers you whispered when your faith felt fragile. I see the strength it took simply to continue moving forward after disappointment tried convincing you to give up completely. None of those moments are insignificant. There are people listening tonight who secretly feel emotionally frustrated because they thought healing would happen faster. You believed that after praying, after trying, after waiting, your heart would already feel lighter by now. Yet certain burdens still return unexpectedly. Certain memories still hurt. Certain fears still rise without warning. But healing is not failure simply because it requires time. A broken bone does not heal instantly. Deep wounds require patience. And emotional restoration often unfolds gradually because your soul is learning how to trust, breathe, and hope again, little by little. Do not become ashamed of your process. There are also things you need to stop carrying tonight. Stop carrying unrealistic expectations about yourself. Stop demanding perfection from a heart still learning how to heal. Stop believing every difficult emotion means you are moving backward. Some days, healing feels strong. Some days, healing feels fragile. Yet both days are still part of the journey. My child, I know there are moments when fear tells you that your best days are already behind you. You look at lost opportunities, broken relationships, or delayed dreams and quietly wonder whether life will ever feel truly joyful again. But fear cannot see the future. I still hold for you. There are peaceful seasons ahead that your current pain cannot yet imagine. There are relationships waiting that will bring safety instead of confusion. There are opportunities already moving quietly toward your path. There are answers unfolding beyond your present understanding. And there are moments of genuine joy still ahead, even after all the heaviness you have carried. Do not surrender your future to temporary discouragement. You keep focusing on what has not happened yet, while overlooking how much you already survived. Think about how many times you believed you could not continue, yet somehow strength carried you through again. That strength did not come from nowhere. I remained beside you through every hidden battle. Even now, while your heart still carries unanswered questions, I am still working within your life. And hear this carefully tonight. Your worth does not decrease because you are still healing. Some of you secretly feel guilty for struggling emotionally. You compare yourself with others who appear stronger, happier, or more successful. And then you quietly attack your own progress. But comparison blinds you to the unique path I prepared specifically for you. You do not know the hidden battles other people carry, and they do not fully understand the strength it took for you to survive your own story either. So stop measuring your journey through someone else's visible life. Your healing matters, your process matters, your peace matters. There are things I am teaching you through this season that comfort alone could never teach. You are learning how to recognize unhealthy patterns, learning how to value your emotional well-being, learning how to protect your peace instead of constantly sacrificing yourself to please others. And those lessons will strengthen your future more deeply than you currently understand. Do not rush the process simply because waiting feels uncomfortable. The roots of a tree grow deeply before visible fruit appears. In the same way, deep emotional restoration often happens beneath the surface long before outward change becomes obvious. You are becoming steadier, wiser, more discerning, more compassionate, and one day you will recognize that even this painful season carried purpose beyond what your present emotions can fully understand. My child, stop speaking hopelessness over your future. Stop believing that because certain dreams were delayed, they are gone forever. Timing changes everything. What feels impossible today may later unfold at exactly the right moment. Your story is still being written. So tonight, Release the pressure to have everything healed immediately. Stop condemning yourself for still being in process. Breathe deeply again and trust that even now, restoration continues quietly within your heart. You are not broken beyond repair. You are becoming stronger through healing. If you are choosing to keep moving forward tonight, type "healing is happening" in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to receive tonight. And if these messages are helping strengthen your heart and renew your hope, share this message with someone who may secretly be struggling emotionally right now. Sometimes one reminder of healing can help a weary soul believe in tomorrow again. There are moments when your heart grows tired from carrying invisible burdens for so long that you no longer remember what it feels like to truly rest. You continue moving through daily life, fulfilling responsibilities, speaking with others, handling pressures quietly, yet deep inside your soul there remains a weariness words cannot fully explain. And because so much of your struggle has remained hidden, you sometimes wonder whether anyone truly understands the heaviness you carry. But listen carefully to me now. I understand every silent battle within you, and I have never once turned away from your pain. You have spent too much time trying to hold yourself together while secretly feeling like you are falling apart inside. You became accustomed to surviving instead of truly living. You learned how to continue functioning while emotionally exhausted, and over time, your spirit became so familiar with pressure that peace itself started feeling distant and unfamiliar. But my child, I did not create your heart to live constantly overwhelmed by fear, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. I am calling you back into rest, not temporary escape, but deep inner peace. The kind of peace that remains steady even when circumstances are imperfect. The kind of peace that reminds your soul that you do not have to carry tomorrow's burdens before tomorrow even arrives. You keep exhausting yourself trying to control outcomes beyond your power. You replay situations repeatedly, hoping endless worry will somehow protect you from future pain. Yet all that fear has done is drain strength from the present moment. Worry cannot create peace. Fear cannot secure your future. And overthinking cannot provide the healing your soul truly needs. There are some people listening tonight who secretly feel emotionally numb because disappointment lasted longer than expected. You hoped certain prayers would already be answered by now. You believed certain wounds would already be healed. You imagined your life would feel lighter at this stage, yet instead you found yourself carrying exhaustion deeper than before. But hear me clearly tonight. Delayed healing does not mean forgotten healing. Slow progress does not mean no progress. And difficult seasons do not mean your life has lost purpose. There are things happening within you right now that you cannot fully recognize yet. You are becoming more discerning about who deserves access to your peace. You are learning emotional boundaries after years of overextending yourself. You are learning how to recognize your worth beyond constant achievement and approval. And although the process feels slow, transformation is still unfolding. You often focus on what remains unfinished, while overlooking how much growth already happened inside you. Think about the situations that once completely shattered your peace, but no longer hold the same power over you now. Think about how much wiser your perspective has become through pain. Think about the strength it took simply to survive seasons that once felt unbearable. That growth matters deeply. My child, stop speaking as though your future contains no hope simply because your present season feels difficult. Fear magnifies temporary pain until it seems permanent. But your current struggle is not the final chapter of your story. There are still beautiful things waiting ahead of you. There are peaceful mornings your future has not yet revealed. There are relationships approaching your life that will bring comfort instead of confusion. There are opportunities already unfolding quietly behind scenes you cannot currently see. And there are moments of genuine joy still waiting beyond this difficult season. Do not surrender to hopelessness now. You also need to stop punishing yourself for still healing. Some of you secretly feel frustrated because certain wounds still affect you emotionally. You thought you would already feel stronger by now, yet healing is not a straight line. Some days feel peaceful, some days feel heavy again. But both kinds of days still belong to the process. Healing is not failure simply because it requires patience. And hear this carefully tonight. Your worth does not decrease because you became tired. Needing reassurance does not make you weak. Wanting peace does not mean you failed spiritually. You are human, and even strong hearts require renewal. There are burdens you must finally release tonight. Release the guilt from mistakes already forgiven. Release the pressure to constantly prove yourself worthy of love. Release the fear that tells you your best days are behind you. Those thoughts are not speaking truth over your life. I still see purpose ahead of you. There are lessons I am teaching you through this season that comfort alone could never teach. You are learning how to rest instead of constantly striving, learning how to trust without demanding immediate answers, learning how to protect your emotional well-being instead of sacrificing yourself endlessly for others. And one day you will realize that this painful season carried hidden gifts your current understanding cannot fully recognize yet. You are becoming steadier, wiser, more compassionate, more deeply rooted in truth instead of appearances. And although the journey has felt exhausting, your spirit is growing stronger through every step. Do not give up now. The night does not last forever. Morning still comes after darkness, and the heaviness you carry today will not define your life permanently. My child, I have not forgotten your silent prayers. I have not ignored your tears. I have not overlooked the moments you continued moving forward despite emotional exhaustion. Every act of perseverance matters before me. Even now, while your heart feels weary, healing is still happening quietly beneath the surface. So tonight, stop carrying every burden alone. Stop expecting yourself to solve your entire future immediately. Breathe deeply again and remember that peace is still possible for your life. You are not abandoned in this process. You are being restored step by step. If you are ready to let peace replace exhaustion tonight, type, "My soul will rest," in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. Stay until the end, because there is still more your spirit needs to hear tonight. And if these messages are bringing comfort into your life and helping strengthen your faith, share this message with someone who may secretly be struggling emotionally right now. Sometimes one reminder of hope can help a weary soul keep going one more day. There are moments when you look back over your life and wonder how you survived certain seasons at all. The heartbreaks that nearly crushed your spirit. The nights filled with silent tears, the disappointments that left you questioning your direction, the waiting seasons where answers seemed distant and hope felt fragile. Yet somehow, through every valley, every storm, and every hidden battle, you are still here. And listen carefully to me now. That is not an accident. I have been carrying you through every chapter, even when you could not fully feel my presence beside you. You often focus on what still feels unfinished. But tonight, I want you to recognize how much strength has already been formed within your spirit. The person you are now is not the same person who first entered those painful seasons. You have grown wiser through suffering, more compassionate through heartbreak, more discerning through disappointment, and stronger through battles that once seemed impossible to survive. My child, your pain did not destroy you because my hand remained upon your life even in moments where you felt alone. There were nights when fear whispered that you would never recover emotionally. There were moments when exhaustion convinced you that your future held nothing but more struggle. Yet even then, something inside you kept searching for light. Something inside you kept hoping quietly, despite the heaviness surrounding your heart. That quiet perseverance matters more than you realize. You keep asking why the process took so long, but deep healing cannot always happen quickly. Some wounds touch places inside your soul that required patience, truth, and time to restore properly. And although waiting felt painful, it also created depth within you that shallow comfort never could have produced. Do not despise the journey simply because it was difficult. There are things you understand now that you could not have understood before these seasons. You now recognize the importance of peace over appearances. You understand that constant striving without rest eventually empties the soul. You see more clearly which relationships nourish your spirit and which ones drain your emotional well-being. And slowly, quietly, your heart has begun learning how to value what truly matters. That growth is sacred. There are some people listening tonight who still secretly fear that their best days are already behind them. You look at your age, your mistakes, your delays, or your disappointments, and wonder whether life can still surprise you with goodness again. But hear me clearly tonight. Your story is not over. Because difficult chapters existed, there are still blessings ahead that your current understanding cannot fully imagine. There are still peaceful seasons waiting beyond these years of heaviness. There are still prayers unfolding quietly behind scenes you cannot yet see. There are still opportunities approaching your life that will restore confidence where fear once lived. And there are still moments of joy your heart has not experienced yet. Do not let temporary discouragement become a permanent belief system. You also need to stop defining yourself by seasons you already survived. Some of you still carry labels created by past pain. You call yourself broken because of heartbreak. You call yourself weak because of emotional exhaustion. You call yourself unworthy because certain people fail to value your heart correctly. But other people's inability to recognize your worth does not change the truth about who you are. You are still deeply loved, still filled with purpose, still worthy of peace, healing, and meaningful connection. My child, there is another truth I need you to understand tonight. The life ahead of you will not be built through fear anymore. Fear has already stolen enough joy from your journey. Fear convinced you to expect disappointment before blessing. Fear taught you to emotionally prepare for worst-case scenarios instead of believing peace was still possible. But I am calling you into a new way of living now, a life no longer controlled by endless anxiety, a life no longer built upon comparison, pressure, and constant emotional survival, a life where your heart can finally breathe again without carrying every burden alone. You do not need to know every detail about the future before taking the next step forward. Trust grows when you continue walking even while some questions remain unanswered. And although uncertainty may still exist, you are no longer walking through it alone. I am still guiding your path. Even now, while you listen to these words, restoration is unfolding quietly within your spirit. Old fears are losing power. Old wounds are slowly healing, and new strength is rising inside you, little by little. Do not ignore the progress simply because perfection has not arrived yet. Healing often happens quietly. Transformation unfolds gradually, and peace grows steadily within hearts willing to trust again after disappointment. There are still beautiful chapters ahead of you. One day you will look back and realize that even the seasons you once begged to escape carried hidden purpose. The pain taught you compassion. The waiting taught you patience. The heartbreak taught you discernment, and the battles taught you how deeply you needed my presence all along. Nothing has been wasted. Not one tear, not one prayer, not one moment where you continued moving forward despite exhaustion. Everything is being woven together into a story of restoration greater than you currently understand. So tonight, release the pressure to carry every burden by yourself. Stop punishing yourself for still healing. Stop believing that delays mean your life lacks purpose. Breathe deeply again and trust that even now, new life is quietly rising within you. The future is not empty. Hope is not gone, and your story is still unfolding beautifully one step at a time. If you are choosing to walk forward with faith tonight, type "My story is not over" in the comments below. Let those words become your declaration today. And before you leave, remember, this message was not placed before you by accident. Stay close, keep listening, and continue walking in peace one day at a time. If these words have strengthened your heart through this journey, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may need hope tonight. And if you feel led to support this ministry so these messages can continue reaching weary hearts around the world, you can do so through the link given below.